Hey everyone, welcome to the post-race chat of the Bahrain GP. We've got our P1 finisher Ashwin with us, aka Drunken Monkey, and of course, big man Joe, who finished P2 after an unfortunate disconnection. P3 was Accelerate, he won't be joining us. So yeah, boys, how did y'all feel about the race? Let's just get into it.
Uh, the race, I think I had a really good race compared to Australia, and I wanted to do some. Actually wanted to have a good race since my last race was quite bad, and I had to maintain the consistency that Danny showed at the start of the race. So it was like I was battling with him, and he was very consistent, and I had to keep with his consistency. So we had a great battle, and it was a really great race. I would have to say.
Yeah, like you mentioned last time when we had that talk, once you set the fastest lap in Australia, you were really hedging for this race to, give out the best performance. And,
Yeah,
even on the lines of you saying that the Ferrari boys were causing trouble in Australia, clearly in Bahrain, they were like, no match. They're all like back in P10 and whatnot. Yeah, it's played right into the hands of Racing Point itself. Like the overall team result, P1 and P4 is ideal, and you'll have the lead right now in the championship, constructors championship.
exactly, because even Vicky had a really tremendous race. My teammate, like he came back from P11 and he ended up at P4. Um, he overtook many cars and he showed some great skills in Bahrain
For
by
sure,
keeping his consistent.
for sure.
And
Danny, let's talk about you. Something specific I keep, noticing is turn one usually catches a lot of drivers off guard, but for you, it actually proves valuable. You take the race lead immediately. That's what happened in Australia. That's what happened here too in Bahrain. Talk us through like the race itself. How did you feel about it? How do you think it went?
Yeah, going into it, I told you in the previous talk, like Bahrain was, you could say, one of my weakest tracks, So uh, I really did put in the work and try to improve. And yeah, pretty much on the start, always in Australia and in Bahrain, I had the inside line. So it was all about just get the better start and, defend into there, and you should have P1. And from there on, it was just, keeping it consistent, making sure whatever I practiced in terms of race strategy, just follow that through and through. And yeah, what I couldn't practice was Ashwin putting the pressure right from the start to the finish. I mean,
Yep.
he overtook, I'd say, lap 18 or so. And yeah, I think my heart sank at that time because, again, the same thoughts going through my mind, okay, you're back in P1, again, you're going to lose it again. And somehow I was able to, maintain composure, put the pressure back on. I overtook him, I think, lap 27 or 28, but then, yeah, the disconnect happened. So,
Yeah.
unfortunate.
yeah, the disconnect was right after you overtook me, like a turn later. And I was like screaming, yeah, Danny has gone off network. And I was telling Vicky, now I got a chance to overtake Danny again. And it was really unfortunate that the race had to finish that way because Danny deserved a fair finish after like he put in complete hard work with his with a really good consistency to actually have been within the fighting range after I overtook him. He was going outside that 1 second time and he came back again in within that 1 second to get the DRS and he eventually overtook me. And I had, I also had a really bad tire wear because I used the hards for my qualification as well. So it was 3 laps older already, and I pushed my hards like until 18 laps. I guess I pushed my hards for 18 laps. So totally my hards was used for 21 laps, and by 27th, 28th lap, I was falling off my pace, and that's when Danny took the chance and he overtook me. And after that, it was really unfortunate that it went off.
Yeah, I think the whole disconnection thing, one thing we might have missed is actual wheel-to-wheel racing in the front, because Accelerate had a huge gap, yes, but maybe you could have like closed that gap. Like anything would have been possible, right? So I think that's what we missed out on with the whole disconnection part. We would have seen both of y'all switch, positions multiple times throughout the penultimate and last lap. Coming to strategy itself, do you all think I know both of you all were in similar strategies, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
how do you all think it worked? Did it work out in the best way for you all, or did you all like regret choosing that strategy?
Ashwin, you can go ahead.
For me personally, the strategy actually worked.
Mm-hmm.
Because for my practice race, I actually went with a soft, medium strategy. But for this one, I switched to a medium hard strategy because I didn't want to waste my by doing an extra pit at the time. And Daniel was also in a similar strategy, so there would have been no major advantage. But one thing with the one-stop strategy in Bahrain was I had to keep check of my tire wear because in Bahrain it's very easy to lose a lot of rubber because of the fast corners and tight right-handers and all, and
Yes.
it really puts pressure on your front left tire. Uh, at the end of the race, my front left tire had degraded to 80%. So it was like any moment my tire was about to puncture. Thankfully, I had to nurse my car during the last lap, and yeah, actually, my strategy did work out pretty well. And yeah, and I had to be consistent with it as well because with one-stop strategy, I can't mess around with my tires, and also I have to be consistent with my lap times
For
all
sure.
along. So yeah, it worked.
Danny, what about you on the lines of strategy? How did you feel about it?
Medium to hard was definitely the fastest strategy because me and Vineet discussed it a lot. We were checking what is the time difference between medium to hard and the two-stop strategy. And that extra stop was almost like 13, 14 seconds slower, So the only issue with the medium hard strategy was we were very concerned with the quali session
Mm-hmm.
because the medium tires were almost a second slower than the soft tires. So me and Vineet were pretty like concerned about that, but somehow I was able to put in the lap. I don't know how I put in that medium lap, but yeah, I was happy with the qualifying because I was sure like on medium tires, I don't think I would have come top 5 or 6 with that tire.
Makes sense. Moving to your teammates, right? Obviously, we spoke about Ashwin's teammate Vix putting in a good race as well. What about you, Danny, your teammate? How do you feel about his performance in the race itself?
He didn't race.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See,
My bad.
so yeah, so the issue was his controller has a mind of its own. So while we were doing practice, right? So like say if he was in front of me, his controller starts thinking, okay, I want to turn left. And so his car would start moving like this and he would hit walls. He would go off track for no reason. And he got so fed up, he was like, no, I'm not coming until I buy another controller or fix my issues here. So,
Makes sense.
yeah, so hopefully he can sort out that and join us next week.
Yeah, I mean, for the team to progress, we need both cars on the grid. So for sure, it'll be interesting to see how he drives next race. Anything specific about Bahrain which like caught you off guard, a specific corner? Because I think there was one corner everyone kept going off. I know there are a lot of runoff areas and gravel traps as well, but there was a specific corner, if I'm not wrong, it's 10 or 11. It's a left-hander.
10.
Yeah, 10. It's a left-hander, and there's a huge runoff area on the right side. So a lot of people kept going off, lost a lot of time, lost positions in certain cases. Thoughts on that?
It's a very tricky corner because it's almost you have to brake in a straight line and then start turning in. So it's Bahrain is very like what you could say. It's categorized for those sort of corners. You have to brake and turn in or accelerate and turn in. It's not a stop and go sort of track, like something like Baku. So yeah, I think turn 10 is pretty tricky. I think Ashwin never went off throughout the race. Maybe once he went wide, and
I
I
went
think I
twice
never went
actually,
off.
and
You went twice, okay.
actually,
Yeah, I think I never went off.
Danny went off once. He lost control,
Yeah.
and that's where I gained around a second close to him. I guess during lap 11, 12, I guess that must have been. No, before 10. On the mediums, I guess it was. And then I lost myself during twice actually at the same place because it's a low slope area where you go from higher slope to a lower slope, and the braking won't be sufficient enough. It keeps dragging your car down along the slope. So you have to be way before the normal braking point. You have to hit your brakes earlier so that you get proper traction and good exit out of the corner. And if you miss the braking point and if you overshoot, you obviously are going to go out of the track and you're going to lose a lot of time around that section. So we really have to master that that particular turn in Bahrain, and if you do that, you're going to gain a lot of time and you're going to be consistent with your position.
Well said.
Sorry?
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, on that note, like 2 races in, Racing Point is in the lead right now. McLaren was previously in terms of constructors, and drivers' standings, obviously, it's been changing around. But do you feel there's someone on the grid who's been slacking off and we could actually see him performing incredibly well in the races to come?
And there are a lot of people actually. First person who comes in my mind is UK. UK is like last race he couldn't come because he had some other work. And this race he finished in pole position during quali.
Yes.
And but unfortunate incidents during turn 2 like saw him fall off places.
Yep.
And then also he had a different strategy during this race, which he was telling that he wasn't quite satisfied with his strategy for Bahrain. So UK has been keeping himself calm till Bahrain. Maybe we can see him getting podium finish in China, I guess. We'll see him.
Yeah. Danny, what about you? Do you think it's UK or do you have someone else on mind who's been slacking off?
Yeah, I feel UK will pick up as the season progresses. I have no doubts about him. He has the pace, he has the consistency. He's led races, he's won races, so no issues there. Yeah, I want my teammate to perform much better because I feel like the whole grid takes this a lot seriously. And I think from his point, he's looking at, okay, like how both of us can score points together. But I feel like, I've had to dig at him as well, like you won races without having the pace. So that was a point for him, put in the work and get more pace, and you should start coming back up in the top 5 or the midfield. So I look forward to that. Let's see what Vinny does.
Yeah, Rocket Man. Moving on, China, race number 3. Thoughts?
China. Yeah, Danny, you go ahead.
Yeah, I like the track. I mean, it's really nice track. Turn 1 is very. Let's say we can put money down for incidents in going into turn 1. It's pretty tricky, and pretty much even if you're on the inside or outside, mistakes are going to happen there. So yeah, turn 1, and then I think the second to last corner where there's that long straight, and then you have the U-turn. So there as well, you will find a lot of people overshooting there as well. So yeah, looking forward to this race, man.
Ashwin, what about you?
Yeah, the same. Turn 1 is going to be really crucial in the Chinese Grand Prix because even during last season there was a lot of incidents where people lose the braking point and then they crash onto each other. There'll be a lot of chaos, especially in lap 1. But after we safely make through lap 1, I guess after that it's going to be a really good race. Because China in general, it's a good track where you have good runoff space and there isn't any gravel or grass. So it's a wide track as well. So you can expect a really good race next up. And also there's a long straight before the penultimate turn. So a lot of space to overtake in the straight track. So straight row. So I guess China is going to be a really good race this time.
For sure. We're all looking forward to it. Thank you for joining us, boys. All good luck for the Chinese Grand Prix. Hopefully I see you at the post race there, but you never know. Cheers.
Thank you, Satak. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.